Hello and welcome. So this is one of my 60 conversations for my 60th birthday. And today I have got the delight and pleasure to have Marina Galan with me. We haven't actually met in person, I don't think, have we? But we have met on a number of occasions online for various reasons. But it's been a while. It's been quite a while. And we were just catching up and I said, no, stop. I want to record this. You're saying some amazing stuff. Don't start saying this. Say this when I press go on the camera, because 2 or 3 times in these conversations I finished at the end and pressed stop, and then someone said something. I mean, there's some brilliant things being captured, but it's so easy, isn't it, to do that? So anyway, would you introduce yourself, tell everybody just a little bit about you, and let's see where this goes.
Introduce myself. Okay, my name is Marina. I live in Querétaro, Mexico, with my 3 sons. They are 19, 16, and 15. So
wow. Growing up fast.
Yes,
they do.
Yes. You can say it's a pretty full life right there. That's,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and right now, the 16-year-old is traveling through Europe, backpacking by himself. And it is being a magnificent experience for him. He has faced so many challenges and so many difficulties and has had to prove to himself just how resourceful he is and, all this decision making and stuff. And he's having a blast. And because he's a minor, he couldn't stay at hotels and hostels by himself. So he's staying at friends of mine's houses. And it's so unbelievably funny, Deborah, to get the insights of what they are seeing versus what he's seeing. I am loving it.
Yes. Yeah, that is an amazing thing, isn't it? The whole how we have a different take on something to someone else. And it's not like neither person is everybody's being truthful, but what one of us sees to what separate realities, it never ceases to amaze me.
The eldest one is at home. He just finished high school and he's taking a year off to accomplish a few of the projects that he really, really wants to engage in. And man, it's really interesting to see him work so hard when he has a year off. It's like he gets up at 7 in the morning and starts working, and he's creating an app and he's creating an organization, and it's insane to see the drive that these kids have, no? Mm-hmm. And the youngest one, who is 15, is in his last year of middle school. And he's obsessed with the gym and his muscles right now. Which is a lot of fun. And I find myself really squeezing the juice out of having these last few months with him at home and being here more of the time and having beautiful conversations with him. What else? I am a coach and a mentor of the 3 principles. I work for the 3PGC board. I serve as the chair of the International Communities Committee and in other committees as well. And I am the founder of 3PESP, the Spanish-speaking 3 Principles community, which is an international community engaging all of the Spanish-speaking world in the world of the 3 Principles, in the understanding of the 3 Principles. And that's been happening for a long while now. It always feels like it started a year ago, but no, it's been going on for quite a while. And well, through that world is how I met you.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just love that sense of community that it brings worldwide, and how if it's a 3P person, there's an immediate trust, there's an immediate I don't know. Do you see what I'm saying?
And we have something in common straight away. It's like that, yeah, that there's some common ground there straight away, which is really nice.
The thing we have in common, I mean, having this understanding of life touches you in so many beautiful, unexpected ways that I don't know, you just immediately understand their take on life, even if we have separate realities. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yes,
Yes.
totally,
Good.
totally.
Okay.
It almost pulls you out of it, and you kind of looking at yourself and the role of thought. It's almost like you can kind of see it from a step back. Whereas to me before, I was so in my life, and it's not that I don't get in my life, but it somehow there is a, oh yeah, there's that thought thing doing that thing again, and oh yeah, that mind thing has always got my back. It's just, it feels like a part of the fabric of it somehow.
Yeah, there's a different distance, there's a different perspective to life.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
And I
What?
am very grateful for being here and for you inviting me to be part of your conversations. I feel deeply honored. I do.
Oh, thank you. You're so, so welcome. I know it was so funny because right at the beginning when I first had the idea and I said this, Beck said to me, "Oh, I would love you to speak to Marina." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I definitely will." And then you know what life's like, all these things kind of happened, and then and I think, "Oh yeah, I'll message Marina," and then whatever. And then a few times Beck would say, "You haven't, Marina's not on your list yet." And I was like, "Oh no." And then all of a sudden the other day, I just picked my phone. I said, "I haven't messaged Marina yet, and we're nearly at the end. I'm going to do it today." So it's so funny that your name has kind of been a part of this all the way through. And Beck is so looking forward. She's like, "I can't wait till you've had your conversation with Marina, because she's one of my favorite people to listen to you speaking to." So we've got to, we've got to up the ante a little bit for Beck here.
Hey, let's get ready. Let's get ready.
Let's go for it. Let's go.
There's an expectation now. Very sweet. That's very sweet. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with me. Warms my heart.
I know that she, obviously we've had conversations before, and we have listened to you. We've been a part of things that you've done, and I know you have an incredible way of sharing and how you come across with the principles. There is something really, really beautiful in what you share. So yeah, there's an honesty in that you were on our list right from the beginning, and life did what life did, but here we are. So
But life knows when the right moment is, right?
exactly. That was my thinking. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, just now feels like, for whatever reason, it is strange, isn't it? For whatever reason, I didn't message you any of those other times, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm doing this now. And then it was done.
But there is such a robust possibility of rest in that trust in life. Knowing that this will happen when it needs to happen. And it does not mean that you will not engage and you will not look for what you want, but trusting that the moment will show itself. This is what is necessary now, instead of trying to force things into your life. No?
Yes, yeah. There is definitely, there is a, well, don't even know what word to put on it. There is just such a beauty in that, resting in that. And what you were starting to say, when just before I pressed record, when I stopped you and said, you were just talking about how a similar thing, really, how it's like, yeah, I just don't get caught up in the same way as you used to, so it feels more, life feels more like a knife going through butter than that real, difficult, sticky stuff. So share some more about that you were saying, if you can remember.
Yeah. So what we were saying is that we get less and less tangled up in insecure thinking, in self-sabotage thoughts, in I don't know, just doubts of any kind, not only self-doubts, but doubts of any kind. And so it seems to me that it's surprising the amount of time that we usually spend worrying about that and caught up in that. And so when you don't, I don't know, it feels like you're in a like boost mode, or it's like there is just this clarity and this focus of, oh, this is what feels right, this is what is next, this is the next step. And you can have a vision and not necessarily turn it into a goal that you have to fight for and strive for, but that can inform the direction of your choices, if that makes sense. And when you have that clarity, it just doesn't make sense to get entertained with anything that is not aligned with that. And so every step, it turns into this beautiful way of living in which every step you take feels more honest, more you, more truthful, regardless of where it takes you. And yes, all sorts of other things come and support that, or come and challenge that. But again, there is just so much clarity. You know, I was talking to a friend this past weekend, and we were discussing choice, and how, like Muji says, if there is a choice, there is not enough clarity. So I don't know, life feels very clean, very smooth, very aligned. And I know you will understand when I say this. Somehow the ways in which the universe support you are way more clear and strong and definite. You see? Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. I love it. It does. It feels so much cleaner somehow. And the word trust, when you were speaking, the word trust kept coming up in my mind. It was like, and I've really noticed that whatever it is I'm doing, whatever it is that's going on with me, it feels like I can put it into one category or another. You know, it can be, I can call it many things, but it feels like I'm either coming from love while I'm doing this, or I'm coming from fear. And to me, like, trust is love. You know, that's a form of love. And it's like, so long as I'm in that and I'm coming from fear, from love, it really does just feel clean and supported. And it is like that. I know it used to be that I would think, well, I can't not worry about that. You know, there would be things going on, and I think, well, I can't not worry about that. And now very often, I mean, I do sometimes worry and get caught up, but I can also see very, very often it's like, I can't find the worry in me for that. I can see that there is something maybe potentially going on, or whatever it is, but it's like, it feels as if it's almost like you've had a glimpse at the end of the film. So you know that everyone's going to fall in love, or everybody's going to, you know, whatever, the right people are going to go home with the right people, or whatever it is, it's all going to be, it's okay. And then we're sort of in this part, and it's like, yeah, we're in a part now that it looks like maybe that can't work out that way, but I've seen the end, so I know it does. So it's okay. We'll just ride it out with this. And there doesn't seem such a need to be. The other thing that was coming up in my mind was the words, life seems so much more done for me. There seems to be so much less on me to have to do.
God, yes. And I love the way you are wording it, because it's as if the amount of suffering you have is directly proportional to the lack of trust you have in life.
100%, 100%. Yeah,
right?
you can really.
And in a way, I mean, I don't know, I'm thinking of things that you need to do, you know, like bureaucratic things that you need to go through and push through. And it becomes just, well, yeah, that's how you have to do it.
Yeah.
But it's not a problem anymore. And in the process, let's not forget to bring in the beauty and witness the beauty.
Absolutely.
And as well. No?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny because I have bumped into people who are 40 and are writing about, oh, everything is so different now. And I am reading people who are turning 50 and saying the same thing, and people who are turning 60 and are saying, no, this is definitely it. And isn't that amazing? Just how it keeps expanding. Like, how much better does it get? I can't wait.
That's the beauty of it, though, isn't it? I think, like, consciousness, I don't think it stops, does it? It's like it just doesn't, and you can just see it keeps on going. And very, very much when you said the you know, how much, if there is a lack of trust, you suffer. So as we are recording this, my daughter actually gave birth to her first child last night.
My God, and you're sitting here having a conversation with me. Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
How does that feel?
It's really, really, really exciting. But interestingly, like I've got two daughters, and my other daughter has already got two children. So I've had two grandchildren. This is my third grandchild, but this is with my other daughter. So this is her first child. And interestingly, that during the birth, she lives up in Scotland, and I'm down in Devon, so we're a good way apart. I'm going to go and visit her, but at some point during this, there was some complications, and that her and her partners, they both just sort of put their phones to one side, and it all kind of went silent and everything. And I really watched myself go into not trusting. I was really like, oh my gosh, my baby is giving birth, and I need to know. I need to know what is happening. I need to know that everything's okay. I need to know that everything's okay. And it was really interesting to watch myself get into a bit of a panic about this. You know, this looked really, it was like, it looked very, very real in that moment. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, the realness of that. And then it was broken up intermittently by, what do you actually know is true? What do you actually know is true? Is there any way, no matter what is going on here, is there any way that there is not an okayness to this? And I could honestly just keep settling right back down and just being like, well, whatever this is, because I knew that she'd had some complications, and it was like, whatever this is, okayness is built into this. And I would just get really, really, really calm. And then my head would kind of go, this is your daughter, and this is a baby, and this baby might not be okay, and your daughter might not be okay. And it's like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking, that I could be totally okay with this? And then it'd be like, right, okay, what do you know to be true? And it was fascinating to watch the calming down and the revving up, and be a witness to that going on. It was like, wow, that is so cool.
You see, there are so many justifiable reasons to worry.
Exactly.
So many justifiable reasons to be unhappy.
Yes, yes.
So many justifiable reasons
I
to
have my good reason. Don't try and talk me out of it. This is a really good reason.
That's the whole thing. That's what it boils down to, right? So if you want to be happy, if you want to be at peace, if you want to be at your best, you have to renounce every reason.
Yes, yes. And
regardless how justifiable it looks.
That was definitely the play out going on. It was kind of like, yeah, I absolutely can renounce this reason, and I could feel the peace settling in. I could feel the good feeling. I could feel the okayness of it. And then a thought would pop up, this is your daughter. There's a tiny baby here. What if there's something wrong with the baby? What if there's a, and very much like, excuse me, we are really justifying, you have to worry about us. But it was really, there was definitely, and exactly what you were saying earlier, what I can feel in me now is that kind of thing doesn't happen to me very much these days, and I can actually feel quite tired from the play out of that during the night last night. Not having a good night's sleep, and the play out of that, it's fascinating to watch it and really see, yeah, what are you prepared to give up your peace of mind for?
What a powerful question.
Yeah.
What a powerful question. But the truth is that when you boil it down to all that, it becomes very, very simple. Not necessarily easy,
Yeah.
but very, very simple, right?
Mm.
And say I felt the tiredness of it. Like you can see, like Dr. Bill Pettit says, that our bodies are not designed to carry stress throughout time, right? Our system.
Absolutely not, no.
And how interesting it is to see that our systems understand a situation like the one you just described as danger, right? And so and it's not, like you said, it's not danger. I mean, whatever comes out of this we will be able to deal with it one way or another.
Mm. Yeah.
And knowing that resourcefulness is there, that no matter what you face, you will have the resources to face it,
Yeah.
to navigate it, to go through it. And
Yeah.
and if you just don't get too distracted and you keep walking, you will walk out the other end.
Mm.
And you will walk out transformed in all sorts of beautiful ways, important ways, human ways, humane ways, compassionate ways that will just bring you closer to yourself and the truth of who and what you are, and others, and the truth of who and what they are.
Mm. Absolutely, because I could, whilst it was going on, obviously, I mean, now I've spoken to my daughter, and she's perfectly fine. We have a gorgeous little boy, and she had to have a forceps birth, and unfortunately, and he's got some bruising, but he's fine, she's fine, it's all good. But it was interesting, and it's all, it's okay talking about that now, but it was fascinating being in it and not really knowing, not being fully privy to what was going on, because obviously they're up in Scotland and stuff's happening. I just know something's gone wrong and they've been rushed to hospital, and it's kind of like, yeah, we'll be in touch soon, it's like I don't quite know what it is, and I don't know, and seeing, even when I wasn't sure what it was or what the outcome, I didn't know what the outcome was going to be at this point. I didn't really know what was going on, and seeing where my head could go, and also seeing, yeah, one of the things a long time ago, when I was in a difficult situation, just the question arose in me, am I all right even here? And it's something, it visits me in these moments, and it's just like, okay, when I get quiet, it's like, am I okay even here? And it is that touching that resourcefulness. And so even in that moment when I didn't know what the outcome was, I didn't really know what was going on, it's kind of when I asked myself, when I genuinely go inside and ask that question, the answer is always yes. And it's not always, over time, it's not always I love the situation, or it would be the situation I would choose, or what's going on with what I want to be going on. But you can, to me, within the principles, when we look at the principle of mind or consciousness, those principles that seem a little bit, I don't know, you can't hold them in your hand, you don't quite know exactly what they are. We sort of all know what it's pointing to, but it's a bit like a slippery fish to get hold of it. But to me, asking that question when we sit quietly, and the question, what am I prepared to give up my peace of mind for? And am I okay even here? When we ask those questions, if we get quiet and go inside, we touch mind within us. We touch that power. And there is a knowing, and you can't even, when you then come back and try to put in, when you say something, I kind of knew no matter what happened with my daughter and her baby, it'd be okay. It doesn't make sense, because if people kind of say, well, what if your daughter had died, or what if the baby had died, or whatever, and you can't, it's not a logical explanation of what it is, but there's a resonance or a knowing within each of us that whatever it is we need in any given moment, when we go inside in those ways, in trust, in truth, in love, we find something there. And that to me that's what made the difference to me with the principles. It's like, this is beyond a technique. This is beyond there's something here that I can touch that doesn't really make sense necessarily, but it holds me.
And that's enough.
It's more than enough in those moments. Yeah, there are definitely, when my head goes crazy, it does not feel like anywhere near enough. And then in that calm moment, it is more than enough, more than enough.
Have you ever been like that one step further, in which you know that you are all right, even if it doesn't look like you're all right, even if you can't see it?
Yeah, this is what I mean. Last night when I was asking that question, I had no idea what the outcome would be. Sitting here speaking to you, I know my daughter is okay, and I know the baby is okay. At that point, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was what the outcome was going to be, but the okayness was still there anyway.
And Deborah, when you were speaking right now, I am imagining people saying like, but how can you be so calm, and how can you, don't you care?
Yeah.
Like, how selfish can you be, right? And in that sense, I really love the distinction that Krishnamurti does around it. Because when one of his last talks, one of the students asks him, like, so what's the secret?
Mm.
And his answer is, my secret is that I don't mind what matters. But you see, he doesn't say, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't mind what happens, but I care. And there's that subtle difference between caring, which seems to be a matter of the heart, and minding, which, well, immediately the word takes you to, creating stuff and stories with the mind. And so this possibility of staying rooted in yourself and being truthful to that deeper truth, when what you are and what you know, allows you to be in a space of care and love and compassion, and able to hold the space and the people without making up a story about it. So it's not that because I'm sure you have been accused of, like myself, of being cold and detached and all of these things, right? And it's so the opposite of that.
Yeah, it's the polar opposite. And I guess that's why it almost has to, for me, like when we do our conference, when we do our principles conference, and we have it over 3 days, a part of the reason with that is because hear something and then go out and experience what that might mean, because it is definitely in those moments. I know for me, when I started to hear about the principles, there were some things that really made sense, and yeah, I could get that, but it was in those moments when something real was going on, with one of my kids, or with, I don't know, but something real, something that was happening in my life. And it's like, oh, it's this, isn't it? It's this. And I think what we share and the words and these kinds of things, they're incredibly useful as a pointer. But what genuinely teaches us is when we hear something, and even if we are a little bit like, wow, that sounds like they don't care. I think if we can get curious and then go out in life, we get shown, we get an example of what it is, and our own experience. And this is what I mean when I said you can't really put words on it exactly because it doesn't quite come across right. But our own experiences teach us. We know the feeling of that. We know there's a resonance within us that, yeah, this we know something that is beyond the words, is beyond being known in that way.
It is so difficult to explain, right? We know something that is beyond the words, but that holds you up and sustains you and supports you, and it's there, and it's always there, and you can always touch it. It seems so ethereal, so unreachable. You know, I had a conversation with a friend recently, and he was absolutely convinced that he was his circumstances, he was his life story. And so we were, talking about how different life looks for me versus how it looks for him. And yet what you're saying, point the fact that when something real is happening, that's when you see it. The beauty that the toughest circumstances will not become you, but will be able to tell you who you are. Will be able to show you who you are, who you can be. This ability to gain consciousness, right? To have insight, to realize, like the words you were saying, oh, this is it. Oh, this is what they were pointing to. I love the fact that it is always a recognition. Right? It's not a discovery, it's a recognition. Oh, right. Yeah. I already knew this. Someone had already told me this. Oh, I recognize it now. It's a remembrance.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. A resonance with something that was already there in some way, and maybe like not known in one sense, but it is like, oh yeah, it absolutely isn't. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because when I don't know, at least me, when I realize that it's a remembrance, it's like, well, come on, can't we remember faster?
Yeah, and what's with this not remembering at the moment? Come on.
What is this about? But seeing that life gives you the precise amount of remembering that is necessary just for this one next step. And then for the next one. And then for this tribulation. And then for this challenge. Just enough remembrance for that. I don't know, for me, there is such beauty in that. It's such a dance, like don't worry about the whole package. Don't worry about all the information. You will get what you need when you need it. You can rest in that truth. Because you're not going anywhere except yourself, right? Like, so what's the
yeah, anywhere you go, there you are.
What's the hurry? You're just going towards yourself. Like, enjoy the ride. Enjoy the path. Enjoy the adventure.
And there really are some really beautiful, fun adventures with being human. I love being human. You talked about you've got 3 boys. I'm sure there are some quite human moments in your house sometimes.
Only in the afternoons.
And none of this, for me, none of this is about taking away from being human. It absolutely enriches my human experience.
Right.
I mentioned that we are building a house, and that has been, one of the reasons that I actually decided to go for that was that the trusting in life. It's like, for whatever reason, this really appeals to me. It really lights me up. It really appeals to me. And but it's like, okay, so just go with it. Yeah, I know, right?
Makes sense.
I don't know why. I don't know why I love being up to my knees in mud for months, but there is something about it that lights me up. And then exactly, when you were saying about the things that you have to do, like we've got planning permission on the land, but we have to have building regs, and we have to, we had to discharge some conditions. I didn't even know what that meant when somebody first said we'd got to do that. But it's like, with each of these things that we are doing, with each step of this, it's like, just stay in this moment and do the next thing. Because if I stopped and thought about what we actually have to do before we've got a house that we can live in, we're just not, oh my God, you're nuts.
If you had the whole information, you wouldn't, right?
I
You wouldn't go into partnership, you would not go into motherhood, you would not go
no.
into so much. But
Yeah.
exactly that. It's just like, no, relax. It's just one thing at a time with
Mm,
the resources that are needed for that one thing at a time.
yeah.
And yes, understanding how it works does not make the challenges go away, does not make the bureaucracy go away, does not make the difficult parts go away, but they give you the resources to navigate.
They definitely make it a very, very different experience. And
Oh,
I've watched people around me, some of the things that we've experienced, and I'm having great fun. And then, I've kind of watched people go, oh my gosh, is that not getting on your nerves? Is that not getting you down? And it's like, no, I'm actually really enjoying it. And seeing, again, kind of seeing the invitation to sometimes maybe get frustrated or annoyed, and and then just genuinely see the pointlessness of it. And this idea, like you say, in my mind saying, well, if it was yeah, if it was all sorted. But one of the things that I've really, really seen about the build is I'm really, really, really enjoying the journey. Like, if you said to me, I could wave a magic wand and next time you went there, your house would be completely finished, I would definitely be going, I don't think I actually want you to do that. There'd be a couple of things I'd really like you to do. There would be one or two little things that you could help me with, but please don't actually make this a done deal, because I'm actually really enjoying the journey of doing this. And it's like with our children, isn't it? When we have, like, your boys, over the time we've known each other, your boys are growing up, and it's like,
yeah.
but we don't. And my gorgeous little grandson, he's a tiny newborn at the moment. What a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift. A tiny newborn. And we're not kind of there going, well, how can we get him to be a granddad in the quickest possible way so that he's kind of finished this? That's not, it's going to be beautiful to watch his first smile, to watch his first steps, to what does he like to eat? What kind of a person is he going to be? What's he going to like? What's he not going to like? What's he going to get cross about? What's he going to throw a tantrum over? And it's the journey of it, isn't it? We don't want to get to the end as quickly as possible.
Right. Just like a piece of music is not about the last note and then it's accomplished. It's the whole process. But what I love about what you're saying is the mystery of companionship and witnessing.
Mhm.
Because what you're saying, like, it's going to be beautiful to watch his first smile, his first step, like that witnessing of someone becoming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being a companion to someone living. You know, you were saying his first step, his first smile. And I was thinking, I am about to witness my eldest first heartbreak because his girlfriend is moving away. All right. And so
Yeah.
I know it's coming. And it's like, oh my God, it's coming, it's coming. But what a privilege that I can be there as a companion to him and witness his life, witness him in his life. I know that there is a huge thing behind companionship and witnessing, and I know I haven't seen it all. Like there's so much mystery in it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The witnessing is that's what it's all about. The walking with, the loving through. Right? I was talking with this friend over the weekend, and I was asking him, like, do you feel seen? Do you feel listened to? And he was quite puzzled by my questions, but after a few hours, after more conversation, he was like, yeah, like that's important in life, right? Like being seen, knowing that you are being seen, knowing that you are being heard, regardless of what is going on, not because you are doing grand things, but just because you are being, right? Like your grandson. I'm sure you have photographs already and videos, and you're just watching, right? Like just like that's enough. He doesn't need to give you a diploma so that you can witness him, or right?
No.
It's enough. You are in the presence of pure being, and it's more than enough.
Yeah. And it's so easy in the world that we live in to lose that and forget that and make it about diplomas and things that seem more special than that somehow. It's so easy to lose just that, isn't it? A touch, a look, a being together in that way. It's so easy to not see that as important.
Yeah. It's so easy to get tangled up. Okay, again. But can I be all right even in this?
Yeah, and what was coming to me with that, it was the whole, again, the trusting in life, because I know I get caught up like that and forget those moments when I think there is a lot on me, when I think, oh, if I don't do this in some way, like, there's not going to be enough money, or there's not going to be enough time, or there's not going to, whatever it is, when it feels like there is a lot on me and I have to do it. And one of the things that is, I am really, really seeing more and more in our business and in our life and with the house and everything, is how much there's no rush with this. And you might, someone, I was saying this actually to someone, and someone said, you do know which birthday you've just had, right? And you do know, you're building a house and it's everything like this, but there's just not, it doesn't feel like there's an almighty rush. It's like it feels, be present to the moments that are unfolding with this, again, because it's the journey. And I'm really seeing it, like I can see how much in our business it'd be like, if I am not at my desk and being busy, even if I'm pretending to be busy, not I say I run a business, so I need to be at my desk this many hours, or whatever it is, or this whole idea that I'm not enough, that I can't do enough. And if And I'm really, like you were saying about the whole witnessing, there's definitely something unfolding there that I can see. There's more to see around that too. It's like, yeah, you just can get so crazily caught up in believing that and not trusting in life. And I really think when we were talking about consciousness expanding and us continuing to expand, I really think we are stepping into seeing. We have thought as a species for so long that this is on us, and if we don't do it hard, it's not going to happen. And I think we're kind of beginning to see, yeah, that was just one of those. It's a bit like being on a roundabout and we sat on the horse on the roundabout and we think we're driving the horse and doing it, and if we stopped and didn't do anything and put our feet up, the roundabout would still go round. And it's like life is still going to do this lifing stuff.
Yeah.
If we will just take our foot off it's not even a real throttle, we're not doing that.
Yes. And then, like the invitation, relax.
Yeah.
And from that state, discover what it is that you want to do. Build a house, right? And witness yourself in building a house, and witnessing the house becoming, and witnessing your partner building the house. And it's just, my God, if that isn't enough, what could be, right? What could be? You are telling me about your grandson, and yesterday morning I got to witness a colt being born, a tiny horse. Well, it was huge, but tiny horse being born. And I was so enthralled in that moment, by the miracle of life. I know it sounds cheesy, but like there's no other way to say it, right?
No.
The absolute perfection of it all. And then a couple of hours later, I learned that a very, very good friend of mine had passed. And 3 very close friends have passed in the last couple of months. And it was like, shoot, another one. Like, what is going on here? There's just too much death, was the feeling that I was having. There's too much death. And then I was struck by the image of the colt being born. And it was like, oh, hold on. Right. This is just another miracle that you are witnessing. You are also witnessing the miracle of death. I know it's creepy, but
No.
it is. It's like, oh, going back to the formless. Oh, witnessing even that. Witnessing the grief, witnessing the loss, being a companion to myself through that, loving myself through those feelings. Isn't that part of the path too? You see, it's just like, oh, this is just one more wave, and it will never stop coming. It will never stop coming. And I was filled with such deep gratitude for the lives of my friends and the companionship we had. And now the lack of them and what that will allow to unfold, the missing, the discovering how they are still present in my life, how they are still alive through me, how the remembrance that, like, there are so many amazing experiences that come from loss. Also.
I think sometimes in our fear of these things, we shut down possibility, don't we? And it is being open to the possibility of what that might be, because so many times, like you see so many great things in the world happening and people doing so many great things, that came from loss. It would be like, well, I love this person and then this happened, so because this happened, I then went on to do this. And although we could say, because I can see that through my life, like lots of the things that happened that probably wouldn't, if I wouldn't have necessarily chosen them for myself, and certainly not in the moment in them. Maybe from a greater perspective and knowing what maybe would come of them. But it would be like, no, I wouldn't have chosen. No, let's not have that, and let's not have that, and let's not have that. And it's like, but there's such a richness to those things if we can. And it's not that they don't hurt like hell at times, but even that, you can see here, having a human experience wouldn't be a human experience if we didn't, to me, it is the feeling. We feel the connection and the depth of the love because we feel the rawness and the pain. When I was in those moments, gosh, what if what if there's something wrong with the baby, or what if there's something wrong with my daughter? The pain that can sear through you when and there was, that was the thought of it. And it's like, oh my gosh, yeah. But we can be witness to each other and hold each other and experience in this way, because we do have the capacity to feel that and to know that and to be okay with that. And one of the things that the principles has really taught me is about what I am built for and what isn't so good for me. Because I can see just worrying over something, ruminating and worrying over something, that seems far worse for my health than genuinely being devastated by the death of someone that I love, and just and crying to the depth of my soul like there's nothing left there to cry. But that seems to, I seem to be built for that, and there seems to be that seems to be, okay, that's a part of who I am. But when I sit and worry and worry and worry and worry and worry and how I and have panic attacks and things like that, that somehow that feels more restricting and less of the truth of who I am somehow.
It would seem as if we allow ourselves to go through that devastation, then we find something completely new at the other end. Like allowing that in us. My mother is old and ill and close to her time as well. And she can hardly maintain a conversation now, not because she's not lucid, but because she gets really, really tired and suffocated when she speaks. And at the beginning, there was a lot of frustration in that for her and for me as well, because I was seeing her frustration. But now, as the months keep going, the beauty of realizing how unnecessary words become. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
And seeing her stop worrying about so many things and just surrendering the things that she used to worry about. Oh my God, there is such beauty in that. And a part of my brain wants to say, as she fades, but that's not true, because she's just transforming, you see? Like completely new things are beginning to happen to her in our relationship. And it's like, who are you? Where was this all your life? Where was this, all this tenderness, all this love, all this such gratitude to witness her experience of that, even this late? And yes, there is a sense of loss, and there is a sense of despair even at times, but allowing that too, and
Yeah.
witnessing that in you,
Mm.
and walking out the other end. Like, don't get distracted. It's there because it needs to be, but you don't have to like cling to it and park yourself there. Right? Just keep going, and we'll see what comes. And I guess it's the same also with joy and happiness and all the beautiful experiences, right? Like, don't park yourself there, like keep going. There's a whole life to be lived, and there's a whole you to be discovered.
Mm. Yeah, we're not static creatures, are we? We don't stand still. We're just, it's not life. Life isn't stillness in that sense, is it? Life is alive.
Right. But what if keeping ourselves parked anywhere is precisely about that lack of trust?
Mm.
Right? Like, not, yeah, like just hanging on to something because you have good reasons to hang on to it, because it's justifiable that you hang on to it. How absurd. My son was asking me the other day, the 15-year-old, the youngest one, do you think that there is a possibility that when I die, the universe ends? And I was like, yeah, I think that's exactly what happens. Like, but these thoughts, right? Like they are really questions around consciousness and what consciousness is and what consciousness does. So what is this I when I die? What is this I when I mourn? What is this I when I transform? When I surrender? When I remember? And can I be all right in that? I am so thrilled by your grandson. Thrilled about your experience. Right? Allow myself to feel what you just shared with me. I can feel it expand in me, and my eyes get teary. So thrilled about life happening again. So much hope, so much trust, so much faith in it.
It really, really, really feels so magical. Like a couple of times today, you know, kind of saying, yeah, yeah, my daughter gave birth to a brand new baby last night. It's like, it's so, I mean, how often do you get, I've got 3 grandchildren, so far I've been able to say, but it's not something you can say very often, is it? Like yesterday or just now or whatever, you know, this tiny new child came to the world. And yeah,
Isn't that like the pinnacle of trust, Deborah? People having babies. I mean, come on.
I know. When you look at that, like I look at, I've got, as I said, 3 grandchildren, you know, I've got 2 daughters. And when I think back, you know, there was a time that I didn't exist. You know, my mum's mum had a little girl, and none of us were here. And then like she had that little girl. My mum had me, I had my 2 daughters, and now, you know, and today there's a new little boy in the world. You know, my other 2 grandchildren, I've got a 5-year-old and a almost 3-year-old, and it's like they're so gorgeous. And it's not that long ago, none of those existed, and it's like where did they even come from? I mean, you know, I know where they came from, but it's like, where did they come from? It's like,
Yes, but no, but really.
the miracle of there was nothing. And now there is, I just love creation, and in all its senses, that you're talking about your boys becoming young men, and what are they going to go out into the world and create? What is going to be different? What are they going to build and create? And what children are they, or whatever, what are they going to, what is going to be in the world because they were in the world that wasn't. It is such a humbling and amazing and beautiful thing to kind of just contemplate. Wow. And the world consciousness, we, in whatever ways, might not even be children necessarily, but we're a part of that, and we continue to add to that and be a part of that. What a privilege. What a beautiful privilege.
What a privilege. And all it is just giving, right? Giving yourself to life.
Yeah. Yeah.
In all the beautiful ways in which you can imagine.
Mm.
Every time, again and again, let's build a house. Let's have a baby. Let's create a program. Let's have 60 conversations.
Mm.
Yeah. It's all just give.
Yeah, we kind of can't stop ourselves, can we?
Can't, right? We can't.
Mm. We are life, expanding and exploring and becoming.
Even in our darkest moments.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even in our darkest moments. Like, you're making me reflect on a conversation that I had a month ago with a young man who is suicidal, and he has attempted 3 times to end his life. And I was having a conversation with him, and I asked him a really difficult question, which was, what do you want? Right? And he was like, I cannot answer that question. I don't even know how to think about that question. But then I asked him to look around. So he started like literally looking around at his. And then I asked him, is this what you want? He said, no. It's like, well, there you go. So there must be something else that you want. But if you're looking in the direction of what you don't want, then what you give is exactly that. Mm. Right? And that conversation went in all sorts of beautiful and horrible ways. But in the end, he was still creating. He like you're saying, we cannot not participate.
No, we can't. We are life. We are life is living us, and we don't get in whatever, even the seeming choice not to participate is a participation.
It's a participation, and how intriguing that the reason why he wanted to stop participating was because he really believed that his contribution was useless and horrible and disappointing and all these things, right? It's like, again, like, just look at what you're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Realize what you're looking at, and see how easily you could change that. How your wisdom is begging you to stop looking at that and notice everything else. So you are not only here an active participant of creation, but life through wisdom and the way it speaks to you is inviting you to create from joy, from inspiration, from a truth of abundance and completeness. And it will not give up on
No.
you.
It's relentless.
It's relentless. Right? No matter what you do, it will keep. Isn't that miraculous and beautiful and oh my God, can I be all right even here?
Mm.
What a beautiful question. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you for this amazing. I mean, I could just continue this conversation forever. We could just continue.
We keep getting more and more out of it.
Yeah, yeah. We just keep creating and keep creating and keep creating. But no, that has just been really, really beautiful. And gosh, we did go some places with that, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And it's so beautiful to not know where you're going, right? Like just
Allow.
I can just see 3 meters ahead of me. So that's part of my clarity. Yes.
Let's go there and see what's next. No, that was just gorgeous. Thank you for being a willing participant. Thank you for going everywhere we went together. That was it was just it was gorgeous. Thank you so much.
This has been, you have no idea of everything that I've gotten away from it.
And the same. It's been an absolute pleasure. So
and an absolute privilege to be here to celebrate your new grandson.
Thank you. Thank you. So if people wanted to find out more about you and the work that you do, where would be a good place to do that?
www.marinagalan.com would be a good place to start. There's not a lot of information there, but that has links to other places where there's more being given, where there's more being shared. So
perfect. Well, I will make sure that is underneath this video for you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, really. Thank you. That's been my pleasure. Absolutely. That was one of the most beautiful conversations. So a heartfelt thank you.
And happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy year. Happy life.